Smart Cuban sat across from a reporter, and what he said next would send shockwaves through the basketball world. When asked about his role with the Mavericks, the man who built a championship franchise dropped a bombshell. "I don't control basketball operations anymore. I haven't for a while." The follow-up question cut even deeper. "Did you relinquish control?" Cuban's response was chilling. "I wouldn't say relinquish, they kind of muscled it out. This wasn't just a power struggle. This was the beginning of the end for one of the most catastrophic front office runs in NBA history. 3 years earlier, Dallas handed complete control to someone who had never drafted a single player. Nico Harrison wasn't a basketball mind. He was a suit from Nike, a corporate exec who spent his career closing shoe deals, not building championship rosters. The skeptics were everywhere, questioning whether a sneaker salesman could actually run an NBA team. For a while though, it looked like Dallas had struck gold. Harrison made moves that worked. The Kyrie Irving trade, despite all the drama, paid off deals for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford were criticized in the moment but proved brilliant. By 2024, the Mavericks were in the finals. Harrison had silenced every doubter. He sat courtside in Boston, watching his creation compete for a title. The non-traditional hire had been vindicated, but success has a way of breeding overconfidence, and what Harrison did next would define his legacy in the worst possible way. February 2025. The basketball world woke up to news that seemed impossible, like a bad joke or a hacked account. Luka Doncic, just 25 years old, 5-time first-team All-NBA, coming off leading Dallas to the finals, was traded to the Lakers. Not for a mountain of picks, not for multiple young stars, for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a single first-round pick in 2029. The reaction was instant and unanimous. This was madness. Fans took to the streets outside the American Airlines Center, creating a makeshift memorial at Dirk Nowitzki's statue. The legend himself posted a sad-faced emoji, unable to put his devastation into words. NBA players across the league were stunned. Jaylen Brown called it one of the worst trades of all time. Luka himself refused to answer Harrison's call, only sending a quick text to his teammates before going silent. Harrison tried to explain himself and somehow made it worse. "I believe defense wins championships," he told ESPN. "Getting an all-defensive center gives us a better chance to win now and in the future." Except Luka had just led them to the finals. The Mavs had figured out how to hide his defensive limitations and built the 8th best defense during their incredible run. Nothing Harrison said could make this make sense. The Fire Nico chants started immediately and never stopped. They became the soundtrack to every Mavericks home game, a constant reminder of what had been lost. At first, it was just angry fans. Then it spread. Cooper Flagg, the #1 pick Dallas got after missing the playoffs, was shooting free throws while thousands screamed for his GM's termination. His mom posted video of it online, clearly frustrated that her son's rookie debut was being overshadowed by organizational chaos. The chants followed Harrison everywhere. When Luka returned to Dallas in a Lakers uniform for the first time, the building erupted. Thousands of fans, united in their fury, made sure Harrison knew exactly how they felt. He scored his first triple-double as a Laker that night, a reminder of everything Dallas had thrown away. After the game, Luka's words were measured but heavy with meaning. "I'm just glad it's over," he said. Translation: he wanted nothing to do with the organization that traded him, but here's where the story gets messy. Harrison took all the heat, but he didn't own the team. Patrick Dumont did, and Dumont had signed off on everything. When reporters asked about the decision, Dumont called it a risk allocation decision and insisted he fully supported his GM. Harrison backed this up, saying Dumont reminded him of great Nike leadership, never micromanaging, always trusting the process. Yet as the losses piled up and the fan rage intensified, something shifted. Dumont started distancing himself. He showed up courtside, sitting next to a fan wearing a Luka Lakers jersey. The optics were terrible, almost like he was mocking his own fan base. Then came the PR tour. Dumont released a letter taking vague responsibility while pointing fingers at everyone else. Analysts weren't buying it. On live television, one commentator said exactly what everyone was thinking. There's no way Nico Harrison had the power to trade Luka Doncic unless the owner signed off. That was his call. Anyone who knows anything about basketball knows Harrison didn't have enough power to make that move alone. Harrison was being made the scapegoat, and Dumont was letting it happen. Meanwhile, everything Harrison promised was falling apart. Anthony Davis, the defensive anchor who was supposed to lead Dallas to glory, couldn't stay healthy. He played just 14 of 44 games since arriving, constantly battling soft tissue injuries. When he was on the court, he looked slower, posting his lowest scoring average since 2014. Kyrie Irving, who was supposed to take over playmaking duties, tore his ACL in March and wouldn't return until 2026. Klay Thompson, brought in to add championship experience, was benched amid a career-worst shooting slump. The team's offense became one of the worst in the league. Flagg, thrust into a point guard role he wasn't ready for, struggled badly. The experiment failed, and the Mavericks started the season 3-8, second to last in the Western Conference. And those draft picks Harrison gave up. Dallas doesn't have full control of their own first rounder until 2031. They can't even tank properly. They're stuck in basketball purgatory, unable to rebuild, unable to compete. Monday night against Milwaukee should have been a statement game. Flagg showed flashes of brilliance, scoring a clutch layup over Giannis to give Dallas the lead. For a moment, the future looked bright, then it all fell apart. Dallas blew a 13-point fourth quarter lead and lost. Patrick Dumont sat courtside, watching his franchise crumble. The Fire Nico chants rained down, louder than ever, with PJ Washington shooting free throws as thousands of fans made their voices heard. The next morning, Dumont finally made the call. Harrison was out. Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi would take over as co-interim GMs. In his letter to fans, Dumont wrote, "No one is happy with the start of this season. When results don't meet expectations, it's my responsibility to act." But fans weren't celebrating. They knew Harrison was just the first domino. Unless real change came from the top, nothing would improve. When reporters caught up with Luka after the firing, his response was careful. Dallas, the fans, the players, they'll always have a special place in my heart. I thought I was gonna stay there forever, but I didn't. Right now, I'm focused on the Lakers. When pressed about whether he could ever return to Dallas now that Nico was gone, he gave the same answer. Right now, I'm just focused on the Lakers. No further comments. Days later, Luka signed a 3-year, $165 million extension with Los Angeles, cementing his future far away from the franchise that gave up on him. Harrison, for his part, leaned into the chaos. He changed his Instagram bio to one word: unemployed. It was darkly fitting for a man who will forever be remembered as the architect of the worst trade in NBA history. The fallout is far from over. Anthony Davis is likely getting traded before the deadline. The Mavericks are trying to tank but can't because they don't own their picks. Flagg is supposed to be the future, but he's being built around the ruins of a destroyed franchise. Fans are demanding Dirk Nowitzki come back in an official role, someone who actually understands what it means to be a Maverick. And Patrick Dumont, the man who signed off on trading Luka, is trying to rewrite history and pretend this wasn't partly his fault. Nico Harrison's tenure is over, but the damage he caused will haunt Dallas for years. He went from non-traditional genius to cautionary tale in less than 9 months. That's what happens when you trade a generational superstar in his prime for an injury-prone veteran and convince yourself defense wins championships. Harrison got his answer. It doesn't. Not when you give away the best offensive player in the game to get it.